Well, let me welcome you to this very special edition of the program this morning. My name always Mwabuzi Njoko. Now, the most pressing, exciting, if not contentious issue in Nigeria's polity today is the amendment of the 1999 Constitution. And on Monday, the leadership of the National Assembly, let me say the leadership of the House of Representatives, got Nigerians together to debate, to examine, to agree over 57, is it 87 amendments to the Constitution. The one that pulled the greatest crowd was amending the Constitution to provide for additional states in the country. There have been arguments, strong and strident arguments, against the creation of more states. There are also people who have argued rather reasonably that the balance of power, the balance of allocation of resources, the balance of political zoning is not done yet until more states are created. On Monday, we were at the Transcorp venue where the public hearing on all these amendments were made. And we decided to pull into the studio a particular group that was very strident and loud in their demand for a new state. And that group, permit me, is the Obolo State Creation Movement. We'll soon get to know where this place is located and who are asking so stridently for this new state. And let me start from my immediate left. The gentleman in red, Sir Esan Nsa Basi KJW, President General, Oron Union and Chairman Board of Trustees, Obolo People's Union. Sir, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Let me still go from my left. Now, on my extreme left is Professor Ebire Akanga Batimius, spokesperson, Obolo State Creation Movement. Sir, Prof, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir.
And on my right, I hope I'll be correct there, is Engineer Ngerebara Somson, President General, Obolo People's Union and Coordinator, Obolo State Creation Movement. Engineer, you're welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure.
And there were not the list, I were the last from this introduction, Sir Cyrus Nkang Gwang JP, President General, Eda Obolo Assembly. Gentlemen, let me welcome all of you to the program.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, Sir Esan, I want to start with you.
Okay.
Why is it necessary to make this demand? Why do you think that the creation of Obolo State is necessary?
Well, like I always say, creation of states is not a new thing in Nigeria. People started clamoring for creation of states since in the 50s. And in our area, the then Eastern Nigeria, people were calling for core states. That's Calabar, Ogoja, Rivers states. And we have seen, since then, states have been created in the area. The then Southeastern state, which became Cross River states, River states, we carved out of the then Eastern region. And thereafter, most states have been created, like Akwa Ibom State and Bayelsa State. And if you go to those places that then used to be rural areas, they are all centers of development. In fact, trying to compete with Dubai. Go to River State, Port Harcourt, you know what it is. Go to Yo, the state capital, you know what it is, of Akwa Ibom State. And if you go to Bayelsa, the same thing. So, creation of state is a center for development. So that's why we need Obolo State, especially the fact that it's in the coastal area that has been neglected over the years by both the governments of River State and Akwa Ibom State. And we feel that if we have these states, we shall have the will, the political will, and the finances to ensure that that area is equally developed.
Prof, I want to exhaust my left side first before I go to my right. one of the issues always raised when it comes to creation of states, to ask the question, is it viable, or are you just creating extra burden for the federal purse? This Obolo state we're asking for, can you tell me the indices of viability?
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, we're actually expecting that during the public hearing, that one of the major issues that the committee should focus on should be the issue of viability. Because it's not just asking for states. Is the state sustainable? And for Obolo State, the answer is positive, yes. In fact, I come from a background, my profession. There's this we say plus. You know, when you do malaria test, they'll say plus. Plus. Okay. For Obolo State creation, in terms of viability, is plus. It's a state that have the capacity to sustain itself without federal allocation. And I'll give you some things to take on. Now, you know, when you listening to the arguments there, especially from Nigeria, everybody will be saying we produce the largest oil, we produce the largest gas. The question is where? Because at every public hearing, when we go opportunity, we give you data and we refer you to where you can check it. Now, the 5 local government of Oron that will form this state. Now, first, we'll talk about the Ibaka Seaport. We talk about oil and gas. The 8 local governments forming these states are the major oil producing local governments in Akwa Ibom and Rivers State. It's a state, let me just, because everybody will speak. Now, we have over 120 oil wells as we speak, over, both onshore and offshore. And of course, it's one state that is seated on gas, unexploited gas. In Andoni, the gas are just capped, they just find and just cap it. Now, over 95%, or let's be moderate, over 80% of Akwa Ibom State revenue comes from the local government that is demanding for these states. You come to Rivers State, 34% of the total oil production in Rivers State comes from under local government. Now, viability. Nigeria is moving into the blue economy. And from Oron to Yorokoto in Andoni, it's over about 15 kilometers, 125 kilometers coastline into the Atlantic Ocean. So when I talk about the blue economy, that's where it is. So we can exploit the blue economy to run the state. If you have the opportunity of getting to Oron, and because you can drive through the Atlantic Ocean to Andoni, you find that the federal government spends billions of naira to reclaim Victoria Island for the purpose of recreation. You don't need it. You don't need to spend money, because from Irokoto down to over 150 kilometers, we're just having beaches that are just wasting. And of course, from that place to Oron, we have the largest rainforest in West Africa. You must have been hearing that every year elephants come out into the communities. We have all kinds of animals. So for tourism, for what they call reservations, for hotels, for businesses, we have enough that can be harnessed. Our focus really is that apart from oil and gas, if federal government creates Obolo states, give us 5 years, we'll turn that area into Dubai. Because we have the resources. I know that as we're going to be discussing, we'll discuss about capacity to utilize the resources. And I want to tell you that we have the capacity. Our dream is to be able to turn that place, to let people know that that coastal state can develop without taking 1 naira from the federal government.
Taking 1 naira to the federal government.
Not to, from the federal government.
From
generate our income and run the state so that the world can see that Dubai can be replicated in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Dr. Ngerebara Samson, you are the coordinator of this movement. My two colleagues and friends have spoken about why and the viability. But before you got into this movement, you must have done some groundwork. He has raised the issue of capacity. Does this, by the way, first tell me first where this Obolo state is to be cited, because Prof was speaking, I was hearing him talk about Akwa Ibom, talk about rivers. Where is this Obolo state supposed to be located? In addressing that, do you think you have the population to sustain a state?
Thank you very much. The Obolo state we are talking about consists of 7 local governments in Akwa Ibom state. 5 of them are of Oron origin. The Oron block in Akwa Ibom state have 5 local governments to themselves. Now, Obolo people in Akwa Ibom state have 2 local governments, Ibeno and Eastern Obolo. Then you have another Obolo state in Rivers State called Andoni local government. So we have altogether 8 local governments in both Akwa Ibom and Rivers State. And they are contiguous. They are all lying along the Atlantic Ocean. Beside that, they also have a common ancestral origin. I think that will interest you. When we talk about Obolo, we talk about Oron and Obolo people. Oron and Obolo have the same potato father. So they have the same blood flowing through them. Indeed, before now, the present Andoni local government was in Akwa Ibom, was in southeastern state. It was during the creation of Akwa Ibom state and River State that portion was carved out of and joined with the present River State. We would have wished to stay with our brothers and sisters where the Oron and the part of Obolo that are in Akwa Ibom state. That's what we are looking for. 2, my brothers have talked about viability. It is true, we don't need to overflow it. But beside viability, you could have the financial resources. You could also have the manpower. But if you don't have the will, you may not be able to use it effectively. That's what we're experiencing today in where we are. You can't imagine that since Akwa Ibom State was created, no single person from Oron block has become the governor of Akwa Ibom State. It is today that we're experiencing the first major road to Oron. Despite the fact that, like my brother said, I'm talking about Professor Biria.
Yes.
The Obolo block, that is including the 5 local governments from Oron and the 2 from Obolo, they produce 85% of the total revenue accruing to Akwa Ibom State. Now, imagine that level of marginalization. That's one of the reasons pushing us. And we're not blaming Akwa Ibom State government. Why? Because where we are located is a peculiar terrain. It will require gut in the face of available resources, available human resources. It will require gut to invest sufficient money to develop it.
Engineer Samson, are you people prepared for this gut?
Oh yes, sure. Why do I say so? We are prepared. God did not make mistake and locate us where we are, and He has also endowed us with the muscle, the financial muscle, the resources. All that is required is for somebody who wears the shoes and know where it pays him much, and he will invest the money. We will cut off all this unnecessary bureaucratic bottleneck and invest the money. Why? For you to construct 1 kilometer of road on the mainland, if it costs hypothetically, let's say 1 billion, you will require 5 billion to construct 1 kilometer of, I'm just giving you a hypothetical figure, to construct 1 kilometer of road along where we are because of our terrain. So if a governor from Oron extraction, from Obolo extraction, is sitting in Obolo state, what will stop him from constructing the road? He will do it, knowing very well that constructing the road will be taking development to the nooks and crannies of the place. That's what we're talking about now.
Now, Sir Cyrus, yes. Know that each time arguments are made about development, about viability, about a reason to create another state, one issue arises. Do those people have the manpower to drive what they're looking for? And I will tell you why that question is asked. Even in Nigeria's current conversation, the quality of manpower available at the center cannot be compared to the quality of manpower available at the states. And therefore, the states are said to be a drag on development. Do you think that this Obolo cut out from Akwa Ibom and Rivers and made to become a state, and you look at the profile and quantum of manpower, that you can have the manpower to drive the new state and drive it and develop it?
I can assure you that Obolo State and the persons that are therein are even the crop of the people that even drive the current Akwa Ibom and Rivers State. If you go in, I may not have the statistics, but we have persons gradually even going to the university. You have professors from the extraction, the Andoni extraction, and you have them to also in Oron. So you have a lot of academic manpower, and that is the basis for which development comes. If you have qualified manpower from the universities, like if you check around, we will not have the statistics to give you now, but we can share it with you later. The number of professors we have. Yes, he can help us in that. So what I'm trying to say is that for manpower, yes. And I also want to emphasize, don't ask me that the Obolo people, that state is going to be a peaceful state, a state where brothers are living together. That is even the basis for the drive, that we are connected to our brothers who same blood run in us, that these people will live together in peace. And any state that is peaceful, development become easy. There will be no rancor. Anything that belongs to him belongs to me. We look at ourselves like that, and our resources, we will use it judiciously. We are not going to say, okay, we are dragging anything. If your brother and a sister live in the house, everything that is there belongs to them, and that is the way we feel. So once this state is created, definitely you will have a state that is harmonious, and that will enhance development and growth in that state.
Engineer, I want to go over to Sir Essen. Before I do that, let me ask you, is Obolo linguistically homogeneous?
Sure. All you have is a little dialectical differences. I told you earlier that we have the same protective father. When we are talking about Obolo State, the two major components are Oro people and Obolo people. And these two people have a common protective father, Doni.
Okay. Sir Essen, you know that it's beautiful to converse about the prospects of the state. But allow me to ask you, if you had a governor in Rivers State or a governor in Akwa Ibom State who was fair-minded, treating all sections fairly and equitably, and making sure that development was spread to all nooks and crannies of the state, would you still agitate for the state?
Well, it's good that you use the word "if we had." Unfortunately, we've not had it. Akwa Ibom State is currently celebrating 38 years of democracy. That's from 1999 till date. That's 38 years of, from 87 to 2025, 38 years of creation of Akwa Ibom State. And to be very frank, out of that 38 years, we've had about 5 or 7 governors from our brothers, the Ibibios, and one from the Anang axis. But for this oral Obolo axis, we've not had one governor. So recently, we are having a deputy governor. And that means that's to show the level of political marginalization. In terms of academic marginalization, till date, we don't have any university in the 7 local government areas of Akwa Ibom State that makes up this Obolo State, and even in Andoni. We don't have a university, we don't have a campus of university, you don't have a college of education, you don't have a polytechnic. And then if you don't have these institutions and others have it, not that it doesn't, those institutions are not there in Akwa Ibom State, others work from home to school. You have to send your child to that school, you have to go and look for accommodation, feeding, transportation, you divide your home resources and so on. Many stay back. You don't have secondary schools that are built by government. Schools are built by either the missionaries or the communities. Like my brother said, access road from the state capital to the major town till today is still under construction. Others have their own. So your question was if we had, and I'm saying we've not had, but then if you say, okay, don't ask for this thing again, they are going to change, then you are just assuming that they will change. If they for 38 years they did nothing, then you cannot think and believe them that for the next 38 years.
Why is speaking, Prof? Have we considered a charter of equity? Have you ever touted a charter of equity
between the components of
Akwa Ibom?
I think for now it's belated. Yeah. Because see, why I say it's belated is because let me take it this way. When we decided that we will seek, this movement has been on for the records because of where we found ourselves. In fact, the first time I went to Ohafia, as we were driving to the place, when we got there, as we crossed that river, I told people that we were entering Ohafia. And the person driving was saying, well, how do you know? Because I saw the common thing that follow the Anoli people. Wherever they are, there is no road, there is no development. I told them that we are heading to Ohafia because the thing that follows us is what I'm seeing. And we asked, they said, drive forward, that's Ohafia, that's where we are. That's where we are. So, now, the Ohafia people were able to get a local government. Let me tell you, in Andoni, it is for just last year that we have a road that you can drive to Andoni. Last year. Despite the enormous contribution of the local government. And we think that that came because this Obolo State movement agitation has started. Now, he just mentioned that we just had a deputy governor in Akwa Ibom State. And that happened when Obolo had a conference in Eastern Obolo, and I was the keynote speaker. Unfortunately, the Paramount Law Forum was there. Ibom chiefs were there, and the lot of people were there. And I challenged them. I said, I don't understand you people. And the governor sent somebody to the place. I said, 2023, I mean, the last one, 2023 just coming. It's just coming. We have 7 local government in Akwa Ibom State, and we're begging for political space. It's an irony, it's an error. Why not we now decide to come together? 7 local government. Anybody that's not prepared to carry us along, we abandon him. Everybody who thinks that we are still where we are, let us try that test. All of us will vote for whoever that's willing to carry us along. And you know what happened in Akwa Ibom State? For the first time in the history of Akwa Ibom State, all the political parties chose their deputy governor from the Oro Obolo nation because of fear. And I told them the charter is belated because when we started this movement, it was like, don't mind them. They said, don't mind them. Now the government has known that they don't break. They don't break. So we have gone to this one, we are believing God. Because Abraham told the children of Israel before he died that he will go into exile in a foreign land. He will stay there for 400 years, but that salvation will come.
Salvation will come. Let me just ask, engineer, for this salvation to come, I think it's the Bible that says God helps those who help themselves. Am I right?
I don't think
No, it's not the Bible.
Okay, who said so?
That's man.
Okay, it is us
If you can
saying
help
it.
yourself, God can help you. If you can help yourself, God will help you.
that is not in the Bible.
Okay, but I like to help myself. Engineer,
Yes, sir.
you know that the creation of state in this constitution is not just this movement. It requires, you're justifying it before the National Assembly. It requires you're seeking understanding across state legislatures. It requires you're putting these things that are discussed now, viability, population, capacity, as issues that be considered both at the national level and when the debate comes to the state legislatures. Sit back. What are you doing about these other engagements?
Thank you very much. We have been able to appear before the committee from the House of Representatives in our zone. We appeared before them in Calabar. We did same with the committee from the Senate in Ikorekpene. And there we were able to put our cards first off. We know the criteria required for the creation of states. One is landmass. We've been able to prove to them that we have the required landmass, which is about 10,000 square kilometers. That's what we have. We have a population that's apparently above 3.5 million people. We've been able to prove before everybody that look, the major resources, both in Akwa Ibom and in Rivers State, come from this particular area in reference. We've also been able to prove before them that we have the human resources. We've satisfied those conditions. Now the next level, just like you said, require talking to our brothers, convincing them. But I will say that leaders in Nigeria should look beyond petty things. Why do I use the word petty things? This country that you and me are living in is rich. If you realize that from 1960 till today, the question I've always been, we don't have a nation. Why do we have that in our mind? God has put us together. If leaders at the national level could see Nigeria as a corporate entity, far above their personal interests, far above their ethnic coloration, this country will take a different turn. The same things, if it's happening at the national level, it could have been easily domesticated at the second and the third tier of governance. But it is not there. Now everybody is left to fend for himself. That's why if you have a president, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about a president from one section, he concentrates in his section. If you have a governor from one section, he concentrates in his own section. And that's what we're having the problem having today. What we are saying is that when we get after this stage, we are talking to members of the House, our members in the legislative houses, both the Senate and the House of Rep. We are drumming into them the need to have this state beyond personal satisfaction. The impact, the value, the creation of Obolo state would bring to the nation. Nigeria is complaining of militancy along the coastline because the government could no longer reach these areas and secure these properties. But imagine that a state like Obolo state is created. We will protect our own facility because we know that if you tamper with it, it will affect our economy, it will affect our development. So you are indirectly shifting the responsibility to the people. You're talking about state police. Why? Because people believe that if you have indigenous policemen, they are living with these thieves or these hoodlums. It will be easy for them to address and protect the place. That same common sense is what we're talking about today. I'm sure. Okay, the point. Thank you,
Prof.
Yes, sir.
Because Sir Nsang will give a cap on this conversation. You know that if you are a parent of a number of kids, when they start to grow up and want to assert themselves, you feel a sense of loss somehow. No matter how you want your daughter to get married, the day she steps out, you feel a little bit of an emptiness there. You are carving out a local government from Rivers. You are taking a number from Akwa Ibom to try to create this new state. Can you tell me how Akwa Ibom and Rivers are reacting to this?
All right, it's very simple. The analogy you gave is quite obvious. No matter how badly they are treating us, they still know that we are part of them. At least we feed them. So nobody will be very happy. It will look like economic suicide to now say where the cow that is feeding the family should just go. But you see, it's not starting today. When Akwa Ibom State was to be taken away from Cross River States, it was a major problem. But they did. I don't know where it came from. But when Ebonyi State was to be created out of Enugu State, it was an agitation. But today, people thank God that Ebonyi State was created. So normally, of course, when the people of Israel were to leave Egypt, I want to talk about the Bible because I'm a Christian. Pharaoh didn't accept it until God forced him to accept it. He gave them gold, gave them silver, but as they were leaving, he remembered that something else, that losing something, and he pursued them. So we know that they will not feel easy. But you see, because that is the only way that we can arrive Canaan. That's the only way that prosperity can come. You see, I'm from River State. And before Bayelsa State was created, we said this at Ikorekpene, the only thing people knew about Bayelsa State is one single road that ran from East-West Road into Yenegwa and into Sabama. That's all. It's a complete bush. But just that military effort to excise Bayelsa State away has turned that place the place where you have a medical university now, a federal university, you have a Anambra State University, you have NDU.
You even have law school.
You have law school. You have colleges of education. You have colleges of health. You have colleges of nursing. You have all kinds of things. And you can see how areas that seems impossible to develop are beginning to develop. So the pain, because if the father wants to have a grandchild, he should allow the daughter to go. I don't know what
I like that. If the daughter wants to have a grandchild, the father wants to allow the daughter to go. I think my producer is telling me that I'm blowing my time. Sir Esan Basi, who is the President General, Oron Union and Chairman, Board of Trustees of the Obolo Pupils Union. I'll have my last question to you. You know what? There's no cesarean session that is not painful, but you must know how to manage it. In carving out this local government to create the new state, how are you managing and how do you intend to manage the little disaffection that will arise? You must begin to think about it ab initio.
Yeah, there is nowhere in history that an oppressor had ever willingly let go the oppressed, unless you ask and struggle to get.
Let's not call them oppressors. These are friends who think that they can live a little bit apart.
I mean, then some of them are not seeing it that way. Like initially when we were brainstorming here, certain things should be kept. We should look at focus on the national aspect and why we want the states. But now you're bringing that in. Okay, how do we manage?
Because there's need for management of it, so that if it happens, there's no disagreement.
Yes, presently some people feel that we are taking away the resources from them. I don't think we are taking away the resources from them, because they still have some local governments that are oil producing, and they have other resources within that area where which would remain. They have a bigger land mass than us, and so on. Probably they have a bigger population, like they say. And I think development is derived from the people that you have. the population that is able to think and get things done. But then, how do we manage them? I believe that once we create a state, we shall have a joint meeting to discuss, the areas that we can cooperate. Like, for instance, somebody talked about Ibaka deep sea port. Let me tell you how a seaport operates. In 1916, I ordered something from China. It came in a container, a 40-foot container. The ship, they asked me which of the ports, whether I needed Tinkan Island or Onne port in Port Harcourt. Onne was closer, so I chose Onne port, that it should come through there. The ship that brought the container was owned by the Filipinos. The agent, when I tried to get an agent, was a Yoruba man in Lagos, and I asked him, how are you going to get it? So he has some people working for him at Onne that they will clear it. So the man who cleared it, who was working for the Yoruba man, was an Igbo man, and working at Onne port, who did the clearing. The truck he hired was owned by a Hausa man, probably from Kano, who brought the thing to me in Uyo. And the driver of that truck was from Edo State. And I looked at the whole chain. The port is in Onne, but I did not see any Onne man there or a River State man. See, that's how a seaport operates. You don't need it to be
in your
backyard for you to benefit from it. You will get some taxes that are federal, because ports are run by federal government, the NPA. It's only when taxes are collected by customs and when that is shared for everybody, not just you. Other parts of the country share from it. So even if we have certain institutions like the Bakadip Seaport is built, it's for the benefit of everybody. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a way we can meet and then discuss gray areas. Where can we cooperate?
In other words, there's no need for contention.
Yes, there's no need for contention.
Thank you. Very quickly, because I've spent my time, Sir Cyrus, you know that we are talking to the public, and the public includes members of the National Assembly, who will eventually do the voting and then progress this matter to other states. You have a word for them, those in the National Assembly. What should we be telling them today?
Do you have a word
for the National Assembly? Do you have a word? Now, I think you can open that word. Let him know somewhere, please, because you are the coordinator.
Very well. I want to appeal to our members in the National House of Assembly, National House of Representatives, and the Senate. Look beyond yourself. See what can add additional value to Nigeria as a people, as a nation. That's why in terms of voting, don't vote because your brother or your sister is from there. Vote because this Obolo state is viable. Vote because Obolo state will increase the Nigerian resources, because there will be efficient management of the available resources today. Vote because you'll be helping to liberate a people that have been marginalized over the years.
Thank you very much. Fairness, equity, management of resources effectively, creating friendship in the country as well. Those are the indices, the items they are putting on the table. We are viable, we are friendly, we have the manpower, we have the population, we meet all the constitutional requirements. Don't deny us. That's the word. In the past 30 minutes, in fact more, I'll be conversing with members of the Obolo State Creation Movement. It's quite a number of them with me here in the studio. Let me again repeat my introduction. My immediate left, Sir Esan Basi, KJW, President General, Oron Union, and Chairman, Board of Trustees, Oro Obolo People's Union. Sir, thank you for coming to the program. And my Prof. Ebiren Agana Batimius. I didn't ask him at the beginning of this program. I'll ask him after the program whether his two eyes are still seeing me. Spokesperson, Obolo State Creation, Prof. Thank you for coming to the program. And on my immediate right, Engineer Dr. Ngerebara Samson, President General, Obolo People's Union, and Coordinator, Obolo State Creation Movement. Thank you very much, Engineer, for coming to the program.
It's my pleasure, sir.
And Sir Cyrus Nkangwong, JP,
Yes.
President General, Ida Obolo Assembly. Thank you very much for coming to the program. It's not always that we bring you this kind of people, because they came to Abuja to make their case, which means they're placing a lot of premium on it, and we thought that they should be heard. Let's keep conversing on issue after issue. My name remains Kumar Bojan. Joko, thank you for investing your time. Good morning.